Hello! Welcome to Why Not Both? My name is Pam Schaefer, and I'm a musician and therapist in Los Angeles. Why Not Both is all about how our multiple passions inform our identity, and this season we are brought to you by Under the Radar magazine and produced by Laura Studeris. If you like what you hear, please make sure to like us and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform, and come spend time with us on social media. We are at WNB the podcast, and that is both on Instagram and on Twitter. For this episode, we got to talk to Juana Molina all about what it's like being a creative artist currently under, well, pretty odd circumstance, as we are all currently under some sort of quarantine for the pandemic that is happening in our world. This was a very unique interview, and I'm really glad that she took the time to chat with us all the way from Argentina. I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you for joining us on Why Not Both, Juana. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
So we've already been chatting, and we are chatting all about community and the need for it right now. I usually start off the podcast by asking what people do, but I feel like it's almost more important to talk about what we were talking about.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm open to talk about. I mean, you trigger and I just respond.
Amazing. I feel like in interview, we kind of do that with each other. Like my questions change depending on who I talk to because everybody triggers a different response.
Well, that's great because sometimes you have people with written questions and then you give them an answer and you really spend time and mind time and thought and you try to get somewhere and then you finish what you're saying and he asks you or she something that has nothing to do with you were saying, and it's a bit disappointing.
Oh,
I feel like that he hasn't or they haven't even listened to what you just said, even if it's a stupid thing. They could just say I don't agree, or what you just said is really stupid. But something about it.
Well, yeah, because that's so strange to me, and I'm sorry that happened to you because I'm wondering, I'm like, why would you ask a question if you didn't want to listen? Like, isn't that...
Yes, exactly. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what it is, but there's different kind of people in every single, I don't know that word. Group.
There we go.
Of particular things.
Yes. Yes. And what we were talking about before was the need for community right now. I was telling Juana when I was in Iceland how wonderful it was to see like the sense of community, and given the state of the world right now, that focusing on community would be really important.
Yes, I agree. But it's also difficult because sometimes you say hi to your neighbors and everything's okay. And the minute you go any deeper, he could be your worst enemy. And so it's not easy to live in a community if you don't choose the people that live in it. I'm talking about a neighborhood, which is not the same. But it would be great to live in community in your own neighborhood without having to, well, what I just said, to find out that all your neighbors are kind of, I don't know, that they think really the opposite of what you do, or you would do, or you would say, or you would think. I don't know.
Well, and in some ways, it's funny that you said that because right now, one of my neighbors just started a construction project. Wow. While we are all staying in our homes during a global pandemic.
Oh, just now? You mean now? Now?
Oh, yeah. They are doing it right now. They started yesterday morning and they are doing it now. Like, that speaks to me of their values, that they would rather value that than like their own health, the health of the workers who are there right now, the health of their neighbors.
Yeah. I mean, and take advantage of a quiet moment, because it's so hectic that I honestly feel that this is a Sunday. Since last week, I live in a Sunday, because there's no noise, there's nothing happening. And I think besides the bad results of this, like deaths, I think it's not a bad moment to think about changing paths.
Yeah.
And of course, this is something you think for about 2 weeks, and then you start becoming crazy. What am I doing here? I need to go out. I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be my case because I don't go out anywhere. But I understand that what I'm saying sounds a bit utopic, and that is not the way I wish it was. Like, yeah, capitalism is the end of capitalism and blah, blah, blah. Because if that collapses, it's not that the world's going to be beautiful within a year,
Right.
but it's going to be horrible for me too. But I think I, I want to think that I am ready for that change. And
Mm.
then I don't think I am, but I wish I was, I were.
Well, and I feel like in a way, all of us are being forced to change.
Powerful people always win. We know that.
I guess that is true if they have the power of isolation, which
Of
they
course,
do.
they have the power of isolation, the power of buying whatever they want, the power of being without us uh, nicely. So I don't think that's going to change for them for a while, at least. I mean, the first ones to be affected for this are going to be the very poor, then a little less poor, and then that's how things go. Uh, but it's not going to affect the powerful people at all. Maybe instead of having 200 trillion million, they would have like 2,000 millions.
I was going to say they'd only have 1 trillion million.
Exactly, 1 trillion million. So
They'd be down to one.
yeah, they want. I know they want their other 300 trillion, but it's not going to make a very large difference at the end.
Because I think of how it would affect them to not, and how it would affect everybody. I think of the creative class right now, that in a way, like, I love what you said, that in a way, part of this is like experiencing a Sunday. Like, one of my friends said that it feels like Shabbat all the time, where it's like you turn off all your technology and
Yeah.
kind of sink into yourself, and you can't have an endless Shabbat. It's like, what comes after the Sabbath? Like, what did you learn during that? Like, what changed during that? What changed in other people? How do you feel that this is impacting what you might be writing or what you might put out into the world?
Well, in a way, it's going to help me doing something because I had to cancel. Well, not me. Our tour that was quite big got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
It was 3 weeks in Europe and then another 3 weeks in the States.
Mm-hmm.
A very hectic tour in 10 days. That's not going to happen. So that gives me some kind of relief to, even though I was very keen to do it because I always love to be on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think like yesterday I just put everything out in my studio. I mean, out of the studio,
Mm-hmm.
and rebuilt it.
Oh, wow.
I'm not built it in the walls and that, but I just invented things so the cables are not on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
replug everything and restructure the way the studio is going to be so I can work for at least, I guess, at least 2 months
Mm-hmm.
without interruption. And we'll see. I'll see what comes from that. I work with Odin, the guy that has been playing with me for 6 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and we feel that we will be able to focus on doing a record, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know. But I have to admit, as bad as that sounds, that I feel some kind of relief
Yeah.
of this arrest. this. I don't know if that's a word.
I-
Arrest.
it's an interesting word because arrest usually, well, I guess it can have several meanings. Like there's arrest, like to really, I think of to stop something, like when
I
someone's
should look for
arrested.
it in the dictionary. But
Yeah, 'cause
what I meant is like to have like a stop or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like a pause.
you nailed it. Because yeah, when something's arrested, it means that like it's like paused midstream. Like if you're doing something and it's arrested,
Yeah,
it's a very
that's what.
sudden like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And in a way, I'm really curious what's going to come out of that space that you've created, literally, like rearranging. That's funny that you said that. Earlier this year, I actually rearranged my gear as well, and it made such a difference in how I created because everything was accessible in a way that I hadn't like purposefully made all of my gear accessible to me to record for some reason.
Exactly. That's what we are doing right now.
Wow.
And then myself, I feel a bit dull in a way that I'm not functioning like with all my strength at all. I feel like I am going halfway in
Mm-hmm.
everything. Going out, going to buy me a piece of, I don't know, fruits or anything, and I walk slowly,
Mm-hmm.
do things slowly, and I feel slowed. I feel it's weird. I've
It
never had a feeling like this before. I think.
It is a strange feeling. It's a very strange feeling. It's a
Uh,
worldwide
well,
slowdown.
yes, it's weird that whatever network you open, it's just the only theme we talk about.
Yeah.
All the what? How do you pronounce meme? The meme
Oh, meme.
meme.
Yeah, all the
Like
memes.
little
Oh.
drawings. Like all the memes are about the same thing. They are
Mhm.
everything, and everybody in every single country is talking about the same thing.
Well,
And
it's very
so I think
strange.
it must be like an energy that is slowing down in
Yes,
the whole planet, and it must affect you. You cannot feel it. Even if you don't feel it, it's because you're really insensitive.
yeah. Like I feel like the people who don't feel it are in denial. I
Yeah,
feel like
or denial, total
yeah,
denial. Yeah.
like,
But
and
they
it's
will eventually feel it because, I mean, we are in quarantine since Friday,
mhm,
last Friday. So we've been in quarantine for 5 days only. And I feel like this already. We had a meeting tonight with three friends.
mhm,
One of them just canceled, which I was hoping that she did.
mhm.
I didn't want to be the one that canceled.
Oh,
And she canceled. And I said, oh, yes, yes.
yeah.
I really don't want to go out.
Right.
I don't want to hang out with
Nope.
anybody. And I I am loving being completely alone and knowing that I don't have to go anywhere because I can't go anywhere.
Right.
And I love that.
It when you're saying that, it sounds almost like kind of when you not restrict yourself creatively, but when you put up rules around what you can do, like you say, okay, I'm gonna write this song using only my harmonium, or I'm going to use only these tools. Like it kind of sparks your creativity in a way when you can limit yourself, like when you work within a boundary.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like when you're in school and they give you when you need to write something, when
Hmm.
it's free, when the subject is free, you freak out and you don't know what to write about. But when they give you
Exactly.
the subject, it's so much easier.
Exactly, because you're like, oh, I know my boundaries, and in a way, it's like an experiment right now in
Yeah,
boundaries,
exactly.
and
Yeah, yeah. That's why children need boundaries as well. Because I'm talking about this because we were talking about that,
mm-hmm,
about how children don't have boundaries from their parents lately. In
mm-hmm,
Argentina, it's an Argentina phenomenon that children are really It's incredible what's happening with children. They just don't have any limits from their parents
Huh.
at all, at all, and they are monsters,
Wow.
little monsters. And I think they are totally lost. That's why they become.
Mm.
That's what I see. But I mean, that's a different subject that has nothing to do with our conversation.
I feel like that's how a lot of my conversations go, where I'm like, how'd we get here? I don't know, but I'm happy to be here. I secretly believe that we all have multiple passions.
Multiple,
Mm-hmm.
multiple what?
Multiple passions.
Oh, passions. Yes. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So like I was reading on yours, but I would love to hear how you would define like what your multiple passions are.
Well, I really like to work in the garden and to do like I don't know, like yesterday I have thatched roof
Ooh.
and yeah, in my studio, and it's becoming really bad and no one wants to fix it because people don't do that thing anymore and
Mm-hmm.
they don't
Mm-hmm.
last much longer. So I had to just go up and spend half the day trying to fix it.
Oh my
And
gosh.
today, he says, so today it rained a lot and not a drop got inside, but I don't know when it's going to be windy. That's the real,
Oh.
yeah, that's the real challenge. The water in this case is salt,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
if it's windy, I'm afraid that everything's going to blow away.
Oh.
And I really need to fix that roof, and I don't know how to do it. I people tell me to change it, but I don't want to change it because it's really beautiful, and
Hmm.
especially it's very fresh in the summer. It's like
Mm-hmm.
very like 20% fresher than it is outside.
Wow.
And yeah, and I don't have any air conditioning here, so it's very important to have that roof.
Yes. Yes.
And so yesterday, that's what I did, and I really love doing things with my hands, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you call it in English, like bricolage, or
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and then what else I like to do? I like to sew, but I haven't been sewing lately at all.
Oh.
Uh, yeah, but I used to sew a lot, and then what else I like to I like to do things that involve your mind to get a solution.
Mm.
Fixing things, for instance. I don't know if I would like to make a house from zero,
Mm-hmm.
but but I know I would like to fix a house that has problems. Like, oh, this would
Oh.
we need something. We should do something about this wall. We should tear down this that, and those kind of job. I That's why I waste so much of my valuable time, and sometimes instead of thinking about a record, I'm just doing that kind of thing that takes a long time to fix, and it ruins a little bit your hands. Then when you want to play the guitar and you've been working with a hammer and every day, your fingers are totally stiff.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so it's not a compatible thing, I think, to doing. But I can't help it. I just love fixing things.
Though it
And
sounds like when you're fixing, you'd be thinking, like in the back of your mind, I can imagine if you're moving around, if you're fixing a roof, if you're fixing things like, I don't know if this is your experience, but when I'm doing things like that with my hands, that's when it frees up my mind in a way.
yeah, completely. That's why I like it so much,
Yeah.
because it freezes it the same way that it does when I am that concentrated doing music. When I play music, real music, not just messing around, when
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting there,
Mm-hmm.
my mind is totally frozen. There's no thought at all. I'm not there. I disappear as well as everything else, and there's only music. And something really strange happens where I don't feel or realize that I am actually playing. It feels it
Mm.
feels like I am driven,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like I drive and I am being driven at the same time, but what's happening. And I believe that that's the only music that afterwards is worth uh, putting in a record, for instance,
Mm.
because it always has some kind of mystery and an inexplicable thing that it's that you cannot repeat for
Right.
a start ever again. You can repeat it, but I kind of, it happened to me. I told this story already, but um, I only had one life, and it's not that my past can change all the time. And I'm not very good at inventing stories, so I'm gonna repeat.
You're
I'm gonna
allowed to,
repeat
you're
one.
allowed to repeat your story.
So um, then now I forgot what is it. What is? Oh yeah, when I was recording Segundo,
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was making a record. Sorry, a demo.
Mm-hmm.
So I recorded everything just like that, pressing play, like pressing record without checking volumes or anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
And besides, I didn't know how to record. I didn't know any of the technical stuff I needed to know to
Mm-hmm.
have good quality besides a good song. And I just recorded things just like that, the way I could. And after 2 years of working, I said to myself, how am I going to do all these things again in a studio?
Mm.
And and then I said, oh no, oh my God, no, this is the record. This is it. It is the record. I don't need to go anywhere else. But then I freaked out because the quality of it was really bad. It was
Oh.
awful, awful, awful. So for a few songs, I started to re-record things.
Mm.
And I worked a lot on several songs, like let's say 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finished them, I was more or less happy. The sound was better. And then I went back to the original ones. And then I realized that what I just had done was dead. It
Mm.
was dead. It had nothing in it. Nothing. When I heard the original versions
Right.
again, oh no, my God, no, 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 no. This is a record, and I don't care about quality. I don't care about production. Um, and then, well, I left everything as it was. Uh, and then when you play that record, and for instance, if it's in a playlist, in somebody else's playlist, well, when my record comes out, they really need to turn the volume up because it doesn't have any volume at all. So it has an entity and everything works within itself.
Right.
But when you compare it with other records with big productions, it really disappears as at least uh, as a standard production sound. But I really love that record because it has that. It's a record that I made when my girl was little, really, she was like 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to be with her during the day, and
Mm-hmm.
I put her in bed quite early, like at 8 or 9. And that was the time that I started to work. And
Mm.
sometimes I fell asleep while recording.
Oh.
I was in this kind of I don't know the word for that state when you are half and half.
Between awake and sleep.
What?
Like,
Awaken sleep?
uh,
What did you say?
it's like when you're in between,
Yes.
like
What's
how
the word
awake.
for that?
Um, I guess it would be like, oh gosh, it would be like hypnosis or uh I don't know if we have a word for that. The state that you're in like right before falling asleep.
Yes, exactly. And I was
Yeah.
with my eyes closed and I was half dreaming. Yeah, I mean, the music I was playing gave me those images that were like dreamy images. And most of the record, like at least half of it, has been recorded in that state of mind.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so, how are you going to do that again with full consciousness in a studio with other people? Something that you did without any thought at all, where you weren't there and things just happened. That's why I really love that record, and I'm proud of it, because even though it sounds terrible, it sounds okay. I mean, it sounds good within itself, in its own world, and I think that's the more important than anything else.
Well, and
Uh,
it created its own world, it sounds like, from what you're describing, because that state, right when you're in that state where, like you said, it's like you're there but you're not there, and something's just coming through you. Like that's a unique state that you can't reproduce that state. Like it just
exactly,
is.
exactly. And even if I could, I wouldn't have remembered what I had played before.
Right,
So I would have done another record, a
right.
different one again. So I would have had two records. It would have been a good idea to try to record it again in that state of mind. But
Well, and can you
so,
imagine telling everyone, like, okay, we have to get really tired, and then at 2 in the morning, we
yes,
just
well,
record.
that's why, yeah. I woke up sometimes because I thought, oh no, it's getting, the sun is rising, and then I had a whole day in
Hmm.
front of me. But I really, and then after that, I learned that the only way, or the only things that are worth it in the records I make, are the ones that have some kind of that state of mind, like some where it's only the music happening while I record it.
Mm,
And and then for the live shows, things are different, because you're recreating a song, you do it differently, you put another spirit on it. It's the same song, it's not going to sound the same at all, but it's something, it's different, it's a different matter. I'm only talking about recording and what stays there.
hmm.
uh, and sometimes, I don't know, the live shows are much more energetic than the records, for instance,
Hmm.
not only because of that, but also because I'm playing with other people,
Yes.
and well, there's a vibe that gets there that is wasn't there when I was recording, and I don't know what's better. I mean, that's the way things are. I'm not
Yeah, and
judging.
that's, I was gonna say the chemistry of when you're playing live with someone else is so different than when you're recording on your own, because all of a
Yeah,
sudden you have someone else to play with. Like
yeah,
literally.
exactly, exactly. Yes, yes,
Like,
and then well, every musician has their own way of playing things, and then commitment, not commitment, sorry, what's the word, compromise.
yes.
Compromise comes in, and then okay, I leave about this, I forget about this a little bit, I have this that is better, and I don't know, it's a different energy, and it's also different when you are a band or when you're solo playing with band members.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
the same, because if you're a band, then you're not going to tell the bass player how to play a bass line at all. He
Right.
will just
That's
play
their
their
job. They
bass.
do it.
Yeah, it's going to do their thing. But when you have an idea in mind and you're telling someone else to play it, then you become a little picky, but and you become like, yeah, could you do this, but a little bit more like that? And like Odin Schwartz, this guy that I said that I've been working with him for 6 years. Now
Yeah.
he told me that when he plays with me, he already plays with a filter called Juana Molina, and, and he knows what to do with me, because he already knows me. He already knows what is going to work, and he
Uh,
plays with this filter.
I love that. What I'm
Yeah, well, but it's great. And that's exactly what happens. And because then when he plays with other projects, he's totally different. So,
wow.
yeah, so that's a good thing. And the good thing is that he knows it. It's not that he doesn't realize it. And I think that's a very good thing.
And also, what a sweet gift to give people as a collaborator, to have like your Juana Molina filter, and then when you're playing with someone else, have their filter. Like, to be able to do that with people, I was like, kudos.
Yeah,
That's really,
I
really
think
lovely.
that's yeah. I think like, for instance, the other day we were playing around with a new keyboard, new keyboards. I mean, old new keyboards, and we said, okay, let's make a sound. Let's program a sound. Each one with headphones, and we see what we've done in a few minutes.
Yes.
So, like 20 minutes later, we both had finished our sounds. And then you go first. And then he plays a note. And he had built a sound that it was exactly like mine. So I say, okay, he's totally Juana Molina filtered. Yeah, this is impossible. And he's totally aware, and it's great that he.
Oh my
By
gosh.
the way, he's putting out his record, his first solo record tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Congratulations to him. Please send us the link to that so we can.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And then you can tell how different he is with me than he is with himself.
Oh, that
And
is fascinating.
that's great value. Yeah.
Do you ever play in other people's bands, like in that role?
Not really. Not really. I played with a guy last week because I had a huge show on Friday. And Thursday morning, our show got cancelled. And we really had worked, like not only me and the musicians, but a huge production for this show.
Yeah.
And I got so depressed that I stayed in bed all day. Like I couldn't even blame anybody. I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I thought, it was like 9 in the night, and I said, we're gonna play this show tomorrow, and we're gonna stream it.
That's so wonderful.
What? You're crazy. We can't do that. No. We are doing that. We are doing that tomorrow. And I started to phone people and to move like crazy, to call the company of my internet company. So they gave me more megabytes. So I was able to stream the video. And then I've got a radio involved that helped us to through their channel and through their technology, basically, to make it possible. And on Friday there was, like, I don't know, we shouldn't have, I mean, we couldn't do it this week because last week we weren't forbid to meet with other people. So
right.
Like 20 people came at home. And then this guy that I met a few months ago, a very young guy, that he makes trap, and he has nothing to do with what I do, but I really love him.
Oh,
We just crossed paths, and he said, "Oh, I like what you did. I saw you at this and such show. Yeah, we should do something to." So I called him, and invited him, and he came.
Oh,
And he, during rehearsal, that was one of the best moments of the past 2 years, at least. He gave me my inner rhythmic guitarist mood that I had completely lost.
ooh.
I haven't played rhythmic guitar in years. And because he was playing a solo, like kind of a solo, a song where he was invited, and we played like for an hour and a half the same song, and he couldn't stop playing. I couldn't stop playing, and I felt compelled to do better things and other ideas. And I said, "Oh my, where did all this go? I was this way like 100 years ago." But I was like playing the guitar in a rhythmic way, And then I kind of lost that thing, and I recovered it with this guy. That's
Oh,
because you asked about collaboration. I said,
yeah.
I just want to be his guitar player in his band. And I told him, I said, yeah, we should definitely do something. I mean, he doesn't have instruments in his band because this kind of, well, trappers like it,
Uh-huh.
you.
Uh-huh.
But so I don't know, but we thought that we should do something together because we both felt inspired by each other. And I haven't had that happening in a really long time.
That,
And
oh,
that was really, 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 really inspiring. And then we got the show, and it was a major success. People
yay.
were really, really, really happy that we gave the concert anyway. We put all the what you put in on stage just to make
Like the
it.
visuals, like the stage dressing, like all like the set and everything.
Yes, yes, we had everything, and we put everything in my studio,
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
and then everybody do it just for the love of art.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, I mean, nobody got paid, and we were so excited. Everybody was really excited about doing it, and then it was big news here in Argentina, and then everybody started to do the same the
Oh my
next.
gosh.
Yeah, it was really, 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 really good. And I was so full of energy that I hadn't had felt that. And that's maybe why then after that, that I knew that we were not going to play for a while. Maybe that's why all this slowing down mood came afterwards.
Yes.
Um,
It's
but we ended having that show that much more people saw it than at the venue.
right.
It was a huge venue, but anyway, much more people saw it. And then, I mean, you can watch it. It's on YouTube now, and I don't know. It felt so good to do it because it was like fighting this coronavirus that you're not going to stop me for doing what I need to do,
Right.
and and then I thought that all that we were talking at the beginning of the conversation about changing the way of doing things, that
Mm-hmm.
this is there's always, what's the saying, there's
Where
a
there's a will.
silver lining in every cloud. There's a silver lining.
Yes. Yeah.
uh, and well, i think I think you can take something good from all the bad that exists. And and as I said at the beginning of the conversation, we were talking about changing the way of doing things, that it
Mm-hmm.
would be great that this is kind of a lesson. I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately, but everybody's thinking about that a little bit now. Like, oh, it would be great if things were different now.
Well, and
Uh,
I think in a way it might, in some ways even, and I guess like it's small things that lead to bigger things, like even doing what you did, like having that show, it sounds like really inspired people that you then said the next day, then more people were sharing this way. And
yeah,
it's
we
like,
did it at the
yeah,
same time of the show.
yeah.
I mean, the show was on Friday at 9 o'clock, and we did it on Friday at 9 o'clock from my house. And so people weren't so upset that everything got cancelled, and you gave them something. It's not the same that being in a venue. Of course, that's not the same.
Right,
Of
right.
course not. We all know that. But there was some kind of energy, that thing that was happening right there, instead of something else. That I
Yeah.
think that was the good thing. It's not the same as in, okay, we feel like playing a show, and we are going to record this and put it on a live story on Instagram. Um, I felt like it was a commitment for me to do something for them.
Yeah. And
And
to,
also because I really wanted to play with this guy, and because we had worked so much for this show, that was all that going to go if we didn't do a thing?
yeah, and it sounds like when you were saying that you had almost the rest after. It reminded me of like when a star goes like supernova, where like all of a sudden it shines like extra bright, but then it kind of goes whoop.
Yeah, then it dies totally. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it's so beautiful that you were inspired by him too, to try something that you said like it's almost something that had been like dormant inside of you. It had been sleeping in there, and then this person kind
Yeah.
of poked at it and it woke up.
It didn't come out so well during the show. It was so 100 trillion times better during rehearsal. I don't know, something happened that afternoon that was really, really, really pretty. And then all I could deduct was that my deduction was like, okay, it's not only me that feels this kind of awkward uh, feeling when you have to do something in front of an audience, in front of a camera, that I'm not the only one that gets a little scared or a little
Mhm.
pressed or pushed to do something that has to be good.
Right.
Anyway, that's not the important part of the story. And
But you did try something new, and it sounds like it inspired everyone, because you're right. Like it's definitely not the same feeling as being at an actual show. Like you can't replicate that feeling. But
no,
to
of course not.
know,
But people were all going to go to that show because it's not something that got canceled 15 days ago.
right.
It was canceled just the night before.
Yeah.
So people didn't have a plan that night. I mean, it's a huge venue, so there were kind of a lot of people that weren't expecting to go there and have a show. So I really, honestly, did it for them, and
Yeah.
also for me to get out that uh, need to play a show,
Mhm. Mhm.
especially that one, this this particular show, because it had, well, we of course we didn't do it entirely because you can't stand an almost 2 hour show in a streaming.
Right.
It would be tiring.
Right.
So we shortened it, but we it was good. It
Well,
was really
and you're speaking to something that I find really interesting, that it seems like in some ways, like the way that we relate to sharing online during this has been very different than before. Like I feel like before people did share things online, but it was almost to like promote things or give a preview of things that you would see if something was, you're going to a show or things like that. Like you said, like, oh, it's just something you would put on your Insta story. Whereas it's
yeah
like, it's almost like now that sharing has taken on a different importance, because we're kind of, it's like sharing out of solidarity, sharing to actually connect with people. That like the sharing is the thing. It's not like you're sharing as a precursor to something else. It's like,
yeah
nope, this is it. Like,
yes
this is
yes
this is the thing.
yes. Yes. And it was like and it was, we were so nervous because it was a live show.
Uh-huh.
It was happening at the same time that people were watching it. It's not that we recorded something uh, and then I don't know, the next day or 3 hours later with some editing. No, there's nothing.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yep. Yep.
In your face, coronavirus.
We're gonna share music. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that it's beautiful that you did share that, and that now, like, in a way, you're creating like a little cocoon for yourself to create more to share.
yeah,
Like, I would imagine that after this cocoon time, there's going to be, like, I'm so curious about all of the art and music that's going to come of this, because I think we're all shell shocked right now. Like, I feel like we're all feeling that slowed down feeling in a way. But kind of just like this all came on, it's like nothing lasts forever. So
no,
we,
if there weren't at least one in many parts of the world, but in Argentina, the poverty is really huge.
yeah,
So if there weren't so many poor people, I would be happier for this.
yeah,
But all those people, if this, I don't know what's going to happen with them. If this get, I don't know, if the government doesn't give them something,
yeah,
they have nothing. Nothing. They can't not work.
right.
It's not an option. It's not an option. And So I wonder what is going to happen with those people. That's really bad. That's
Yeah.
really, really bad, because we are out of that range of problems. We
Right.
can we can survive, and we can hold on, and we can wait to see what happens, but they can't.
Right.
So I don't know.
And I do hope that there's change so that in a way we can help, because we are in a position where this is a cocoon, where we're not isolated in our castles, as we had talked about before, but we do have the luxury of isolating.
We do, yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going to happen. I feel a bit guilty about that, even though it's not my fault.
Right.
But I feel too privileged to be able to just wait to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, we went really dark again.
It's a strange dark time. It's
Yes.
I was saying to someone that like it's hard to avoid the darkness, and I don't think that one necessarily should. Like, one should see the light as well, but like to only see light, like there's that whole, I don't know if they have it in Argentina as well, but in America it became very trendy to say positive vibes only, where it's like you can only be positive, and I don't think that that's healthy.
Come on, that's really silly.
It's very silly. It's like, they're
And annoying.
agreed.
And annoying. Yeah.
Where
Especially because it's fake. I mean, I won't trust anyone that only has good vibes.
yeah,
Come
I'm like, what are you
on.
hiding?
What are you?
Because there is, I mean, it's interesting that we're talking about, what will happen to people, because in some ways it's like we're giving what we know how to, and that like I'm recording a lot now so that I can keep people company with podcasts, and record music so we can keep people company with music and make them feel like solace in art. And it's like, as artists we can give that, but it's like, okay, well, what else can we change? Like, clearly a lot has to change. And so it's like, okay, how can each person do their part with their privilege to see what they can help change? To get too enveloped in the darkness or the light, I think, is dangerous. I think it's good to see both.
It's always good to see both.
Yes. Well, I'm very glad that you are safe. I mean, it was my first question was, are you safe? Like, I really feel I'm sure that you know people too who work in different industries that, now just don't have jobs.
No, they don't.
Like,
No, I know. One of my best friends, she's an activist for LGBTQ
yep,
trans people.
yep, we got you.
And she is outraged because these people, most of them, just work in the streets,
Yeah,
like prostitution, and there's nothing they can do to avoid this, because if they don't have any income,
mm-hmm.
don't eat.
Yep.
So that's the one that finally canceled our meeting tonight. But she was like, I'm sick of this, blah blah blah. But she's sick of it because it's not very fair
Right.
to all those on the margins of the society. Those people, what can they do?
Right.
They need some help from the government, and so she's demanding the government to to do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Immediately. So I think that's why she's also very tired, because she's been fighting the government for these past 2 weeks a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of respect for her.
Oh yes, she's an amazing activist and very smart as well.
I was like, if possible, my first instinct was, I was just like, oh, I want to cook her a nice meal and be like, here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You deserve this here.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting time to see like how we support each other and how we can do so, especially from afar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, thank you for joining me so that we can
Oh,
share your stories and I get to share your art, which excites me. So, well, thank you. Thank you so much for your
you're
time.
very welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of Why Not Both. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to like us and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also come hang out with us on social media. We are at WNB the podcast, both on Instagram and Twitter. This season, we are brought to you by Under the Radar. Under the Radar is a nationally distributed print, music, and entertainment magazine and website. You can find them at www.undertheradarmag.com and feel free to support them on Patreon. Extra special thanks to our producer Laura Studeris, who has been absolutely amazing. Thank you again, and I look forward to next week's episode.